When you go in for an interview for a software engineering role, you might run into a situation where you're in a Leetcode style interview. Now, this is going to be probably most of the case. Most of the time, you'll run into a Leetcode problem. Now, what is this Leetcode? It is essentially a website where it presents you a whole bunch of common engineering challenges. Now, of course, you don't necessarily need to know the solution to all these in your day-to-day because there's a library that was already written. You can just import into your project. Someone else already wrote it and you don't need to worry about it. Leetcode style problems are mostly abstract computer science problems that you can solve by writing code, and there is going to be a guaranteed answer. Now, the way you create your code to generate that answer could be different. Really though, when you're in an interview and you ask this question, it's not testing your tech skills so much as your collaboration skills. That's the key critical aspect here, is when you are being interviewed, it's really all about that collaboration cohesiveness. That's the only thing you can really test in such a short window to be able to see how we work together. Now, of course, obviously your tech skills, that's already recorded. You've got, your GitHubs and everything else, but with your ability to, work with others, the primary aspect to the interview is, can you be collaborative, working together? Nelson earlier this week posted an article saying that he was sick of Leetcode style interviews because it's so common, basically running into interviews. When you're in a computer science role that you're interviewing for, you're gonna run into a Leetcode style problem. And Nelson is frustrated about this type of interview because it's not testing his technical skills. And what you want to do in an interview is basically the idea, or maybe the understanding in the industry is, are you capable of doing this job? Can you do this job? Right? And that's what the interview is for. Now, typically your tech skills, you cannot really fully evaluate that in such a short window. What are we really testing for here? And Nelson said that he quit his job at Robinhood, which is a good job to have. I would say that's that, finance company that lets you, purchase shares in stock at fractions. And so now Nelson is jumping back into interview and is very tired of Leetcode style interviews. These kind of interviews are frustrating because, Nelson says that he knows for a fact that they don't reflect the actual responsibilities of a software engineering role. And it's totally true. It doesn't. The main objectives of a software engineering role are working together collaboratively to build a product that will get released to the market for end users to consume. So that is the main aspect of your role as a software engineer. And Leetcode problems, you won't be doing these kinds of things on a day-to-day basis, right? Because someone else already wrote that code for you. You're just kind of piecing it together in the right place and working with others on your team. Here's some advice from a very bright engineer that says that you shouldn't memorize things that can be easily Googled. And this is totally true. There's no reason to memorize something that you can just look up later. It's great that you know that you need to look it up, though you don't need to memorize it because it's already there. The information is there. You can fetch it. And this is how I do my day-to-day anyway. I Google or ask the AI to do. I know what I'm after and I know how to get to it. And you don't need to memorize algorithms and deep algorithms in order to achieve your day-to-day goal. And Nelson's article here that Nelson posted earlier this week mentioned that there are many times where you're in an interview situation where you get quizzed on things that you could easily Google, and you might obviously not know that off the top of your head. I wouldn't know it off the top of my head either. This is things that, I just plan on Googling later. The key aspect here is not that you would know it because, most often you won't, and that's expected. And you're not supposed to because it's kind of a waste of time. There's a library out there that already has that written for you. What is necessary is for you to take that problem that you don't know the answer to, and you can work collaboratively with the interviewer to come up with a solution. That's the key. We want to see what your communication style is and if you're able to collaborate successfully. Now, obviously, you'll never have a solution for those kinds of problems, though you might come close, and it's okay actually if you're working together and you're able to approach progress. on the problem. Progress is important, and especially if you've done it collaboratively. That's just huge. Nelson mentions that if you need a software engineering, this is okay. So Nelson posted this article that he's tired of Leetcode style interviews, and here at the very end, it's like, hey, here's my skills. I have software engineering skills with AWS, Kubernetes, Ruby's on Rails, and no need to ask me these silly quiz questions. This is the skill I already have. Now, of course, the big thing is it's not necessarily if you have these skills, it's more around the line. Because guess what? Most people, you can ramp up on these skills pretty quick. It doesn't take that much time, weeks, maybe a month. The critical aspect is, are you collaborative with the team? Can you work together? That's the main important aspect towards an interview. If you're really in an interview, the primary idea is you work well, you work together, you collaborate, you're happy, you have a good time. Because guess what? If you answer the question perfectly, it's boring. Or I guess it could be impressive, though at the same time you could monotone, answer the question, get it right, and then, be out the door. Though there was no emotion involved. And humans, I'm a human, you are able to remember by your emotional reactions to things. You don't remember what people say, you remember how people make you feel.